Okay, welcome to Toby Explains, the first to die at the end, in brackets, shittily. This is the first episode of the series. I will explain the first one when I get the book back because I borrowed the book to a friend. Um, okay, we start. And I move this to the corner while I explain the premise. That's kind of set up in the first book, and it would be better to explain the first book first, but I only have the second book, so we start with the second book. Okay, so basically, there's this thing called the Death Cost, right? That this guy, um, I don't have to say his name. It's spelled like that. Okay, that is Mr. Discourse. Okay, he made the Discourse thingy. And the Discourse thing predicts when you will die. That is a clock. I did a clock. Okay. Uh, he predicts when people are going to die. He has like a computer in a vault or something. They don't really describe it too well in the book, but it's meant to be vague intentionally. So this guy, joking, whatever. I don't say his name. Rosa. Okay, that's it. Rosa. He makes his cost, and today is it is July. It is July something. That is when the book takes place on the eve of Discourse. Okay, it's July 30, 2010. Okay, that is where it takes place. That is the when Discourse is introduced. Okay, um, and today we have our two protagonists. Let me just move Mr. Discourse in the corner. I squeezed him too much. Squeezed him too much. No. Okay. Okay. No, whatever, guys. Okay, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Okay, you guys in the corner. Now we have our two protagonists. We have um this guy and we have this guy. Okay, this guy over here. That is Valentina. Okay, that is Valentina or Val. His sister calls him Val, and this is Orion. Okay, Orion. I think he wears a hat at the beginning of the book. He has a hat. Um, I don't know any other defining features, but Orion's the one with the hat. Okay, um, and then okay, little synopsis of the characters. He has twin sister, Scarlet. He has abusive, not abusive, like overly religious parents. Um, and he's still affected by like the preachings and whatever. Um, so with him going through that, he is now in New York City, which is where both of them meet, and it's also where the Death Cost Eve thing is announced. He is going to New York because he wants to get away from his parents, and he's going with his sister, but she's not there because he got his sister was busy doing something for Death Cost Eve, so she couldn't come. So he's there alone in New York City, and he's originally from Arizona, which Phoenix, Arizona. If that's important, I don't know where that is. I'm being so real right now. I don't know where that is. Okay. He's also a model, and his sister Scarlett, is a photographer, which just makes them go like hand in hand because he models and then she takes the pictures. Not how it actually goes because she photographs her own stuff, but they just go hand in hand. He has his own photographer. Then I go to Ryan, which he lives in New York City. He's been here his whole life. He's not moving here like Valentino. He has a best friend, slash sister Dalma, which I'm kind of iffy about that at the start, but she does get the redemption arc. He is a author, but he's only an author for short stories. He has a heart condition. I'm just gonna put heart condition there. He has a heart condition where is very prone to heart attacks. So he doesn't think he'll live long enough to be able to write long stories. So he writes short stories. He thinks he's basically in and out of the hospital a lot. So he doesn't really take. He's very morbid. He doesn't think he can do things with a lot of commitment. He doesn't take risks as much. Yeah, he's. And this is just slight things about him. He. Oh yeah, okay. His parents died in 9/11, and okay, I feel really bad doing this in a crude drawing. His parents died in 9/11. So he does not have parents or any other siblings, and that's why, maybe use another color, um, his sister slash best friend, because they're not biologically related, is Dalma. He's living now with the Young family, which is Dalma's family, which is um, dad, sister, sister, mother, and I think there's another girl. I don't remember their names, but it's a big family. Um, yeah, he's living with the Youngs, and they call each other Team Young, which is I think that's kind of funny. Yeah, he's never really called Damo his sister though. They call each other they friends, they're best friends. Yeah, and then okay, now we get to the actual discourse thing. It's fucking drawing. Oh no. Okay, now we get to the actual discourse thing. So they're in New York City. They're in New York City. We go in the Times Square. I need a different color. In the Times Square. Okay, I do not know what it looks like, so we're just gonna imagine it. Okay. Oh no. Yeah, they're in the Times Square for discourse thingy, and before it starts, they having a little like discourse has a thingy set up, a stage where people can go on stage and talk about their life and how discourse to be able to predict when people are going to die will help them in the future, and to basically just tell each other about their lives. Okay, so there's this person on the stage, and they're picking names out of like a little bucket, out of a little box, and when they take stuff out of the box, when people on the stage come and they put their name in the box if they want to talk on the stage, and then the person takes it out of the box and they can, and whoever's chosen can then talk on the stage forward in front of the crowd. And there's a bunch of people in the crowd, okay? And one of the people in the crowd is, who's that with the hat? That is Orion, okay? That's Orion. He has that. They don't sit in the front. It's a big crowd, but I'm not doing all that. We have Orion. We have his sister slash best friend Dalma. I forgot what she looks like. Okay, that's Dalma. They are here in the seats and they're talking. And Orion is basically like, I wanted my whole life to tell my story, and I wanna. This is a great moment to be able to talk about myself in front of an audience that will listen. And he wants to just take this chance because it might be his only chance to do this because he's going to die from his heart condition. So he wants to take this chance to be able to live in fame for a bit because he doesn't really live in fame because he's a short story author and no one's really interested. I don't know if I would say that. And then so they're here together, right? They're waiting to be called. And then this little guy, he sees Orion sees some pretty guy over here. Who I wonder who that pretty guy is. That guy is Valentino. Okay. He sees Valentino and he's immediately like, oh my god. Okay. He sees Valentino and he's immediately awestruck by him. Okay. So he wants to talk to Valentino, but he doesn't talk to Valentino because he still wants to do his presentation. So they wait a bit, they wait for the next guy to come on, and then the person announcing like, okay, last person on the stage, last name that I'm going to choose, and then they take out the name, and it is not Orion's name, so he's out of the picture for that. He doesn't get to do this thing that could like be his one chance to talk about himself in front of a group of people, and that's very sad. Okay, his dreams get broken, and that's like one of the first disappointments or like heartbreaks or whatever in the book. Yeah, it really sets you up for what is about to come. Not really, but it's a sort. Anyway, after they're done, Orion is now he's now sad. Okay, he's sad. He's still wearing his cap. Okay, he's sad. But then when he's but then when Orion is walking away, he sees who's that? Oh my god, it's it's the pretty guy. Okay, so he's like, oh my god, I need to talk to this guy. I am socially awkward and I never talk to people, but I want to talk to this guy and I want to take this chance. Okay, so him and pretty guy then decide. He goes up to Valentino and he starts the conversation and he's like, hi, and Valentino is like, hi, and so they start yapping, they start talking to each other. Okay, um, and then Dalma comes in out of nowhere and she's like, um, she's over his shoulder, like, I'm also in the conversation. Okay, they're all talking to each other. Um, fucking hell. Okay, they're all talking to each other. Dama does talk to Orion before he goes up to Valentino, and basically just says, make sure this is the right choice. You don't want to get your heart broken because Dama immediately notices that this guy is that Orion is super love hot eyes for this guy. Okay, and Valentino is just some guy. And, Dama is very protective of Orion and doesn't want to get hurt. So they're talking, right? Then I'm not too sure what happens. Basically, when Orion is like, they start talking about like past and discourse and stuff, and then Orion talks about his heart condition, and he's like, I'm always in and out of the hospital, so having discourse would make it so that I know when I'm going to die, and I don't have to worry about when I'm going to die or not, because I will know certain days that I'm going to die, and then I'll know certain days that I'm not going to die. Okay, so he's very happy about that. He likes discourse, and then he starts talking about how if discourse was in his past, he would know about his parents' death, and then he starts talking about his parents' death in 9/11, and then he starts crying. And then Valentino is kind of like, oh, that's kind of sad. I feel bad for you. He has a little pat on the shoulder. Yeah, he comforts him the best he can. Okay, but Orion is like, it's okay. It's in the past or whatever. He doesn't say this. I'm paraphrasing a lot, but yeah, they okay now. Okay, they fine. He talks about it. They fine. Then they go to, and then like other unimportant stuff happens. They buy a souvenir shirt that says um have a happy end day. I don't know if Orion buys it or not, but it's not important. Just not important stuff. Then Discos Eve is announced. Okay, there's like a huge hourglass that has been ticking the whole time. That said like when the final sand drops, then that's the Discos thing will be announced. So boom boom boom, boom the final sand drops. Okay, final sand drops, and then the Discos thing is finally starting. And now we go back to Mr. Rosa over here. I need to give him a defining feature, but I don't know any of his defining features. They do not describe him. I just know he's Puerto Rican. So I'm gonna give him a tie. I'm gonna give him a tie. Yeah. Okay. That's Mr. Disc. That's Mr. Discos. Okay. So he's starting this thing. He's getting a bunch of heralds, and the heralds are basically. Oh, I forgot to say something. Valentino over here, he didn't sign up to Discos yet because he wasn't sure. But Orion signed up to Discos. You need to sign up to Discos first before they can call you because some people don't want it. So they made it so you had to sign up and pay for it. So Orion's already paid and bought everything, but Valentino has not been doesn't know to do it. But then he's convinced by Orion because of everything that Orion's saying. So then Valentino then buys the 1 day trial of Discos, a 1 day Discos thingy. Yeah, it only lasts for 1 day, right? So he buys that, and then the Discos thing starts. He buys it like just before midnight. And this calls people, they call you from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. That's the time frame for which you can be called that you're about to die. So after 2 a.m. you can't be called to, yeah. So the people who call the people who call you and tell you that you're about to die, they're called heralds, because um, herald is a word that means something. And then the people who are called and say they are about to die, they are called decars, because they are the leaders of their own ship or something like that, and they control their destiny. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So Mr. Cost, he starts his thingy, and he's like, I'm going to call the first person who I have predicted to die. The Not I predicted, but my machines or whatever has predicted will die first. So he goes on his phone, he go beep beep beep, beep, and as soon as the clock strikes 12, guess who gets the phone call? Guess who gets the phone call? This guy over here. This guy. Wait, I forgot to his hand. This guy is Valentino. He gets the call first, as soon as he signs up for this cost. So when it happens, he's just kind of like, oh. So he's on his phone. The ringtone, the ringtone for the discourse thing is like this really like dun 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 kind of sound. It's meant to be like really loud and blaring, and it's just it's just so you can't sleep through it or ignore it or anything like that, and it continues to ring forever and ever. Yeah. So he gets the call. At first, Ryan is like, "Oh shit, I got the call," but then he checks his phone, and there's nothing on his phone, and then he sees Valentino's holding his phone, and they're like, "Holy shit, this guy that I just bonded with, this guy that I was talking with about my parents, and we were talking about how we're gonna meet up and be friends and stuff like that." But the whole time while they were talking, Ryan was also having really great thoughts. He's like, "Oh man, I can't be friends with this guy because I will fall in love with him." So he gets the call from Mr. Rosa, and he's just like, "Hi," um, and then Valentino is like, "Hi, can I help you?" And then Mr. Rosa says, he says like, "You're going to die today, and on behalf of these cars, we're sorry to lose you." And then Valentino's just like, "Nah, no, 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 you can't be serious because I, I just signed up. It can't be true." But whatever, he goes for it. He's on the phone call. And he's just like, he's like doesn't really believe it, whatever. And then right as the phone call, as like after joking is like about to, I keep saying his name wrong. I'm really sorry. He's about to hang up. Then all of a sudden there's a pew 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 pew, ew. Yeah, and there's a gunshot. Okay, there's a gunshot aiming for or Valentino. No, 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 no. Just in general around him. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, and then oh no, because it's a gunshot. Oh yeah, yeah. As it happens, then he hangs up on the phone, and his phone gets flung out of his hand or whatever. Okay, not yet, but he hangs up. A photographer takes a picture of him because this is his first call and it's gonna go down in history, or whatever. So he gets a picture of him taken while he's on the phone call, and he's kind of like, oh, because he hears a gunshot. And then Valentino freezes out of fear. And then when he freezes, um, Orion goes over to him and he pushes him out of the way of the gunshot. Okay, and onto the floor. Can I rotate things on this? Can I rotate things? I can rotate things. Oh my god, I can rotate things. Yeah, he pushes Valentino onto the floor and protects him from the gunshot, and the gunshot goes, it misses basically. And when he's on the floor, his phone drops, and his phone drops or whatever, and his keys to his apartment. Oh yeah, he got an apartment in New York City. I forgot to say that, but he got an apartment. He just moved here, and he got an apartment with this weird guy named Frankie. Not a weird guy, but he's just like really rude, and you don't like him. He's kind of rude to his child also in the beginning. He his child Paz, he's a really sweet kid. But anyways, Valentino just is he like briefly meets them before going out to New York City. He Let's see what else did I miss. I really need to. My thoughts are a bit scattered. So he yeah, okay. They haven't set up the apartment too much or so, and he wants to get the apartment ready for Scarlet. He doesn't have too much stuff because he went here quickly, so they don't have blankets or stuff like that. Yeah, they don't have much in the apartment right now. Anyways, so he stops him from getting shot by the bullet, and then because this is a high tense situation, Orion's heart goes badum, 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 and then he gets a heart attack because holy shit, he just saved someone's life from a gunshot. I think that's very heart attack worthy. Okay, he gets a heart attack, and now he's also on the floor. He's also on the floor dying. But then Dalma, who's also here, that I forgot about for a little bit, sees here and she's like, oh my god, he's on the floor. And then she shakes this guy awake. Not awake, but like he said, like get up, stop laying on the floor, whatever. Um, my brother just got a heart attack, so come help me. So yeah, then they go help Orion. I need to resize this man. Okay, then they go help Orion. Valentino carries him in his arms, and Dom is just kind of there. And they go to the sidewalk, or whatever. They go somewhere, and they get a cab. They get a little meow meow. They get a cab. Okay, they go in the car. Okay, and I think I'm gonna set a new scene because this is getting way too messy. They get in the cab, and now inside of the car, okay, I can't really describe this. You'd have to experience it. But then, he's over here in his arms, dying. And then so there's the car driver, whatever. And Valentina's just like, that just happened. I almost died in Times Square, and this guy just saved my life. And then Dom was also like, yeah, he did save your life. be grateful. Um, okay, they go to the hospital. After that, they go to the hospital, and Valentino waits in the waiting room. He's like anxious and stuff, and he doesn't really have anywhere else to go because his sister isn't here right now. He doesn't really like his family because they are jerks and kind of neglectful, and so he's just kind of stuck here with nowhere else to go. And then in the hospital room is Orion on the bed, getting his heart shit together, and Dalma is here, just comforting him. Okay, I should not put a smile there. He's kind of thinking about death and how he's gonna die and stuff. He's nervous and he's alone and he doesn't have anywhere to go. Okay, and then Orion is also sad and depressed, but not because of him. He's sad because he keeps going to the hospital and he's kind of thinking it would be better if I just died because my entire family, well, um, new family has to afford my medical bills and I'm here every day and it's hard for me to live. And he just goes on about stuff like that for a bit, and then afterwards he gets out of the hospital bed and he sees, oh my god, Valentino, you're still here. And Valentino's like, yeah, I'm still here because he doesn't have anywhere to go. And so they chill in the hospital, wait for a little bit. And then while they're talking, Valentino's like, you know, if I'm going to die today, they're with the doctor right now, also, by the way. And I should just mention let me say the senior. The doctor is Dr. Imitrio. She has a ponytail, I think. I give a surgical mask or so. Dr. Imitrio, who is Rufus's mother from the first book. I won't get into the first book right now because I don't have it. But yeah, that's Rufus's mother, and she's a doctor. So yeah, she's the cardiac surgeon or whatever. I don't know what the profession is called. Um, yeah, he's in bed, Orion's in bed, and Valentino is here, and Dalmo is also there. So Valentino is talking here, and he's like, if I'm going to die today, I could donate my heart to you, so you don't have to deal with all of your heart problems. And Orion is just like, yeah, he's shocked or whatever. But they took it out and it's fine. They accepted. Yeah, okay, good. Then oh, and he's in the waiting room again for a little bit afterwards. I don't know. I don't really remember. But while he's on his phone, he's calling Scarlett the entire time because that's his sister, and obviously he's gonna try to call her. Then she hasn't been picking up, but eventually she does pick up while they're in the room, and Orion Valentino listens. Yeah, he picks up the phone, and then he's like, "Oh my god, I miss you, Scarlett." He doesn't say that, but Scarlett is like, "I'm missing your phone calls. What's up? What's happening?" And then Valentino's like, um. So I kind of got called from Discourse. I kind of got called by Discourse, and then she kind of freezes because what? My brother who just did like a call from Discourse. So then there's this crying on the phone. They in a face cam. He's crying, um, and it's sad and stuff. Okay, okay, do part